Namaste, good evening. This is Kamod. Thank you very much for this the opportunity to present on to the milk quality. So for most of my experience, of the 15 years, I would say 13 years have already gone into quality. And with that particular experience, I would say that, being in a quality sector, I've always been told that, you have to talk about the disaster or the outbreak which has already happened up, which actually, kinds of culminate into the brain of the people that yes, quality is important. And in Hindi we say like, itna dar betha do, ताकि ना लोग quality को accept कर लें. So with that particular experience, I would go with my first slide, which actually talks about by the various outbreaks or the trends in terms of milk quality, which has been seen most of the across of the globe. So nobody can forget about 2008, the melamine incidents, which happened up in China, and the scandal which led to a lot of hue and cry, and also it was an eye opener for a lot of people about economically motivated adulteration. In 2013, there was a nationwide aflatoxin contamination, which was reported in Romania, Croatia, and Serbia. Then there was a classical case in 2017 when glyphosate, which is a controversial herbicide, was actually found up in ice cream in US and Europe. There was a survey also which happened up in 2007 till 2012, which was done by CDC. And they found out that, there has been an increasing report of milk infection or dairy infection, which is happening. And they observed a trend of Campylobacter. And they saw it actually to be doubling in the past 6 years. So there is an upward growth of the microbiological contamination leading to food poisoning or food safety related incidences. Then when we talk about dairy products, it has also been associated for most of the listeriosis cases or outbreaks which has happened up in Europe. So can we please move to the next slide? Yes, thank you. So if we have a look at the dairy value chain and the quality testing which we put on, this is like a universal one wherein we have from the feed level to the storage and distribution, what happens and what kind of quality test is being done. With the already the context being set by Dr. Dinesh and Udayji, I would like to focus upon the fact that, the quality of raw material is definitely very important over here. And we always say that what goes in comes out. So that's in the case of over here as well. And so that's the reason why, when we say about the animal feed, the health products or the things which is happening up at the farm level, it's very critical about when we get the kind of product at our table level. And here there are lots of quality testing which happens like mastitis test or aflatoxin. In fact, detergents and adulterant test is also something which can happen at this level area as well. The contamination or the pesticide antibiotics which comes up. And here one of the things which when we slightly move towards the milking and the milking station is like the sanitation, which also comes up because of the food contact surfaces. There is a special mention of 2 flags of European Union and Australia, which I have kept it over here to emphasize on the fact that, how these countries actually put forward their regimes or testing on milk parameters in order to have a quality product at the milk station itself. So this is like, in European Union, the milk quality or the milk parameters, the basic ones are being checked at the milk station. Needless to say, these kind of activities are also happening up India, but they are not actually regulated ones. So there they are actually part of the regulation itself. So here we can see that, the more organized sector it becomes, the more emphasis or the easier it can be done. Then moving ahead to the processing or the primary or the secondary processing, whatever it happens up here, the milk parameters, the finished products and the physical chemical testing is also a very important piece of it. And when it comes to here at the processing level, the sanitation and packaging material testing is something which also comes into picture, which actually impacts the final product as well. And of course, when it comes to warehouse and transportation, it's like the kind of the relative humidity or the temperature, and the surveillance also happens up by the government authorities, or it might be motivated by because of the internal policies, which happens up with the MNCs. So when I'm talking about this thing about the value chain, this whole thing of the testing piece is a kind of lagging indicator, because already whatever has to happen up has already happened up, and then we are trying to analyze and see whether our products are being compliant or not. So there is already there is a concept of leading indicators which are being followed up in majority of the cases. So that's the leading indicators when we talk about. Mostly they are originating up from the processing area where there is more of a bigger player being working around, and then how we can implement it. So HACCP or the Food Safety Management System comes over here into picture. The Supply Quality Assurance Program, which can also have the contaminant control program inbuilt into it, is also there. Then pathogen environmental monitoring, though it's PMP, though it's a pathogen monitoring of the different zones or the contact regions which comes up. So moving on to when we are talking about globally, let's move on to what happens up over here in India. So there is a study which is going on, which is on the National Milk Quality Monitoring System. So we have a proper dedicated program, NMQMS, which they call it as in short form, which is rolled up by FSSAI. And under this National Milk Quality Monitoring System, they have till now done 2 types of surveys. So one survey has already happened in 2016. The another survey, which happened up in 2018, but the results were out in October 2019. So this was the new survey, which actually the title itself says that your milk is largely safe. You don't have to worry much about it, but there is a caveat involved into it. Let's go deep down into this survey and what it was being found by FSSAI. So they had actually collected 6,432 samples spanning across more than 1,000 cities and countries. And they only found out that, 12 of those samples are basically adulterated, and the adulteration level, which means they are unfit for human consumption, they cannot be consumed, or the person will suffer. So what kind of contamination or adulteration they observed was basically they observed detergents. They observed, in fact, one of the samples, they observed neutral detergents as well. And why the specific mentioning of neutral detergent is basically the pH range of the detergent helps us to identify it. Once it's neutral, it becomes very difficult to identify it out. Then there was urea as well. And that's it. Milk is very cool and safe. Let's consume it up. So, but there was also hidden stuff that, the aflatoxin M1 was detected in 368 samples, which was out of the limit of our prescribed regulation. There were 77 samples on antibiotics. There were samples which was detected of 156 on maltodextrin. There were samples of 77 numbers which was detected to have artificially put enough sugar into it. So when we say that, the milk is largely safe, we have to literally think about it, what level of quality we want to maintain into this. And actually that is what, sets the bar. So if we move this to the challenges, what we are seeing up, definitely up into our future, would be definitely that, food fraud is something which is very much important, which has to looked upon. So if we dig into this particular slide of the classical 2008 melamine case, which happened up. So basically, just to give you a glimpse of it, in China, there were 30% of the infants younger than 6 months, which are exclusively breastfed. And this is something which is a statistics which is correlated with India as well. We in India also, there is a lot of point on breastfeeding, but then there is a stage for the infant when we want them to give them the more nutrition. And in 2008, it was a very drastic stuff, I would say, an eye-opener for the concern of food safety, which came up that 6 babies died and 54,000 were hospitalized. So what happened was, the need. Okay, overall, the China government started thinking about let's have a regulation, a stringent regulation in place. But they also thought about the test methods, what we are using. Are they appropriate enough to identify the adulterants or not? So that's how they decided from moving from the more immuno-based assays to LC-MS methods, which are more accurate and sensitive. But one of the challenges which happened up that, what should be the biomarker or the marker for which we are going to detect? Now, this is a very interesting place wherein, the milk protein, they have different components. And how about having a quality certified reference material, which can actually help us to have the detection very good being done. So the 3 parts of the entire intact milk protein, which is alpha-lactalbumin, beta-lactoglobulin A and B, as well as lactoferrin, were combined together. And this particular CRM was used, and actually it was actually mentioned by CDC also, to use this specific certified reference material to have a better accuracy in test results. And we are just not relying on the nitrogen content and just doing up the nitrogen content for the protein and just saying, let's go ahead. So that's how, I would say that was a contribution from Merck's side also, that they launched the CRM onto that particular front. And then it's being used globally right now. Next, so one of the things when we go back to the NQMS survey was that, we were only focusing on the chemical and the physiochemical parameters. So the difference, what we saw in the survey, which was done in 2016 versus in 2018 by FSSAI, was in 2018, at least they went down to see what were those non-compliance samples and where they were actually failing up. If you go to the list of the NQMS, you will not find that microbiological parameters are still listed over there. So still, that's an area which we feel that, it will be of a major impact for the milk quality and has to be. And similarly, by this tabulated format, you can see that, there are different microbial parameters which are dependent on the different matrices which are being there. So for example, raw milk will have TPC, E. coli, as well as Salmonella and Listeria to be detected, whereas pasteurized milk will have additional components. And similarly, infant formula would have the more of the components of the matrices to be detected up. So this is mostly based on the EU regulations, which is there. But yes, in India also we have FSSAI regulations, which talks about the microbial parameters, which we have to check into different categories of milk. So if we talk about the different levels of checking up, I also mentioned about the sanitation piece or the cleaning piece. And also there are different things which we have to also cater into the quality, especially on the microbiological level. We have to also take a look on the environmental monitoring as well as the hygiene control. So there are methodologies of using up air samplers, which are better than the settle plate method, wherein, you just wait for 30 minutes and you see that, the counts are less and you are happy. And you're happy with that. Whereas there are also methodologies of checking up the food contact surfaces, whether they have been cleaned or not. So ATP bioluminescence is an age-old technology, which has also been used. There are quality indicators as well as media and sample prep situations. So the water which goes up in the cleaning, in the dairy as well, and different processes is also very critical. So how we can actually test them and find it out. So one thing, if I may say that, one thing which we are going to see in the next upcoming success rate of milk quality 2030, it would be on rapid pathogen testing as well. Because, the conventional method of microbiology testing is something which requires a lot of time, requires more than 72 hours. Certain times, for the simple organism like Eastern mold, we require 5 days of testing. And by the time the milk will already be consumed and being processed. So there is a global trend which is happening up in F&B sector of shifting up to rapid pathogen testing. And that is also being taken up into account by FSSAI as well. And they have also released a standard on rapid analytical testing equipments. And they have also tried to emphasize onto it. So there are different portfolios here, which talks about the rapid testing or in microbiology. So there is this one, the VIP Gold, which over here it's being seen over the single DO path. It's nothing but it's similar to like a pregnancy test kit, which is like, ELISA based or the immunoassay based methodology, wherein you have to just put up the enriched samples and you have to see whether the line appears or not. If the line appears, then it means that, there is a possible detection, and then you have to go up proceeding up with the biochemical identification. Similarly, the technology over here listed on Assurance GDS, which is genetic detection system, it's based on PCR, which is like, the more better version, which we have seen from over the years of evolvement. And there is also a IMS technology attached to it, which is immunomagnetic separation technique, which actually helps you to further isolate your pathogens easily. And then, get the results within less than 48 hours, including the enrichment and everything. So here, one thing which we have to be very much careful on the rapid pathogen section would be on the validation piece. like, are we using the right validated technologies or not? So if we are using technology which is already ISO 16140 Part 2 validated or AUAC validated, it gives the credibility to it. So before using that also, that is something which we have to also take into care. So in order to conclude my presentation, I would say that there are three key growths which we can see. Definitely, there is contaminants detection is something which is going to grow up in the area of quality. Microbiological, rapid techniques, definitely for sure. And also we need to watch out for the new contaminants or the new pollutants which can come up. So in India, we have not even talked about dioxins. Dioxins which are like, coming up from various waste incineration pieces, and how they are like, building up in the fat cells and how they can be excreted into the breast milk itself. So we have to be watchful with those contaminants also. Thank you very much. Thank you.